Waterdeep, the City of Splendors. This great metropolis is more than just a backdrop in Dungeons & Dragons. It's a living, breathing character in its own right. One that shaped the fate of Faerûn for centuries. You could be a player arriving here fresh off a caravan road, docking their ship in the harbor, or being dragged in by the City Watch for questioning. Waterdeep, no matter what, will always leave a mark. Picture this. Sprawling streets lined with carved stone, the air filled with the sounds of trade, laughter, and the occasional griffin cavalry patrol soaring overhead. This isn't just another city. This is the crown of the North. So let's take this tour together, shall we? Waterdeep is divided into several wards, each with its own character and flavor. These wards are ready-made adventure zones, each one distinct enough to give your campaign variety while still feeling connected. The Castle Ward is the administrative heart of the city. Here you'll find Castle Waterdeep itself, looming high on Mount Waterdeep, and the Lord's Palace, where masked rulers govern from the shadows. Adventurers who end up here aren't usually sightseeing. They're either called to duty, standing trial, or caught in a web of Waterdeep's endless politics. The Dock Ward is the roughest part of the city, and a favorite of many dungeon masters. Sailors, smugglers, and sellswords fill the taverns, fistfights spill out onto the cobblestones, and rumors of hidden smuggling tunnels stretch in every direction. For a party fresh off their first quest, this is a perfect place to lose a purse, make an enemy, or gain an unlikely ally. The Trades Ward is where commerce thrives. Merchants from across Faerûn hawk their wares, and the guilds hold enormous power. If your players need supplies, contacts, or a chance to haggle for something rare, this is the ward to visit. The Sea Ward is home to some of the grandest mansions you'll ever describe at the table. Nobles here flaunt their wealth with elaborate parties and parades. But beneath the glittering veneer lies a dangerous game of influence and power. If you want political intrigue in your campaign, this is where it begins. And then there's the Southern Ward, often overlooked but vital. This is the entry point for caravans and traders. Inns and stables abound, and adventurers passing through might find themselves wrapped up in the lives of ordinary citizens, farmers, drovers, and pilgrims who see Waterdeep as the last stop before the wild north. And finally, the City of the Dead. Well, it isn't a ward in traditional sense, but a vast walled cemetery filled with mausoleums and shrines. By day, it's a peaceful park. By night, well, let's just say it's one of the most atmospheric places in Waterdeep for a midnight encounter. Waterdeep is not only vast in its size and population, but also unforgettable in its appearance. Towering over the skyline are the legendary walking statues, colossal stone guardians that once strode through the streets at the command of the city's mages. Today, most of them, they stand frozen in place, silent and unmoving. Yet their immense forms are constant reminders of Waterdeep's magical might and its turbulent past. From here, let's look skyward. Patrolling the skies above the city is the famed Waterdavian Griffin Cavalry. These knights ride griffins, majestic beasts with the body of a lion and the wings of an eagle. Their task is to keep the airspace safe, intercept smugglers, and chase off any dragon foolish enough to swoop down upon the city. If you want to awe the players, have one of these riders descend suddenly in a rush of wings, demanding to know why a wizard in the party was seen flying over the rooftops without permission. Down on the streets, order is maintained by two forces. The City Watch handles patrols, disputes, and arrests. They're disciplined, numerous, and more than capable of shutting down drunken adventurers swinging swords where, well, they shouldn't. The City Guard, on the other hand, defends the walls, gates, and harbor. These two forces are a constant presence, sometimes an ally, sometimes a nuisance, and occasionally the hammer of justice, crashing down on those careless heroes. Above them all are the mysterious masked lords, the secretive rulers of the city. Only the Open Lord, currently Laryl Silverhand, rules openly. Everyone else hides their identities, ensuring decisions are made for the city's good, not for personal glory. This creates a perfect air of intrigue. Who is secretly a lord? Could one of your party's trusted allies be named among them? Could one of them be their enemies? And of course, beneath Waterdeep lies its infamous dark reflection, Skullport. Hidden in the depths under Mount Waterdeep, Skullport is a wretched hive of scum and villainy. Pirates, slavers, and creatures best left unnamed all find shelter here. For many campaigns, Skullport becomes the turning point, where players discover just how deep the corruption of the city goes. It's a reminder that no matter how bright Waterdeep's spires shine, there's always shadows lurking underneath. This is our first little walk through the city. It shows why Waterdeep is one of the most enduring settings in all of D&D. It's not just big, it's layered. Each ward, each institution, each contrast between splendor and squalor provides you with tools. Want politics? You've got it. Want street brawls? You've got it. The dock ward is waiting. Want high fantasy spectacle? Watch the Griffin cavalry soar across the sky. In short, Waterdeep is a city where every adventurer fits and where every story belongs. Few know the true history of Waterdeep. Its story begins more than 1,000 years ago, when the North was what Southerners dismissively called the savage frontier. Back then, the land was vast green wilderness of towering forests, home to dwarves, elves, goblinkin, and scattered human tribes. The first humans along the Sword Coast fished its waters, hunted its game, and gathered twice a year to trade furs with merchants sailing from the south. These southern ships came not just for trade, but for timber. The forests here still held ancient trees of massive size, perfect for shipbuilding, long gone from the lands farther south. As trees were cut back along the coast, human tribes began to settle more permanently, farming the cleared land and trading their lumber for weapons and tools. But of course, wealth breeds jealousy, and raids soon followed. One warlord stood out among them all, Nemor the Reaver. His tribe slaughtered rivals, seized fertile land around the bay, and built a fortified hold of timber palisades against all challengers. Pirates, raiders, rival tribes. Nemor held fast. This settlement grew, and people began calling it the town of Waterdeep. But while Waterdeep prospered, danger stirred in the north. Orc hordes swelled beyond their mountain holds, pushing south in endless waves. Alongside them came the everlasting ones, the trolls, who claimed the swamplands northeast of the city in what we now call the Troll Moors. By then, Nemor had died of old age, and younger warlords defended Waterdeep. Their clashes with the trolls were brutal, and survival seemed uncertain, until one man changed the city's destiny, a young mage named Agaron. With his growing power and wisdom, Agaron turned the tide of battle. He lived on far beyond a normal lifespan, some say through potions of longevity, and as his legend grew, so did Waterdeep. Farmers gathered beneath Mount Waterdeep for protection, and there the city's first stone keep rose, Castle Waterdeep. By the year of the freed hand, the town had become the free city of Waterdeep, ruled not by kings or queens, but by its warlords. Yet power shifted, as of course it always does. The merchants and guild masters gained wealth and influence, and like in far-off Sembia, they sought to rule. But unlike Sembia, they could not agree. Rival guild masters stalked the streets with armed bodyguards, plots and assassinations ran rampant, and eventually their feud erupted into open bloodshed. This was what we call the time of the Guild Wars. When the fighting ended, only 2 guild masters remained alive, Laura Gildega, Master Shipwright, and Elem Zoar, Master Gemcutter. I know I probably pronounced those incorrectly. I've always had trouble with those. They agreed to share power, setting up twin thrones in Castle Waterdeep. But their bickering was constant, their rule indecisive, and their city suffered. It was then that 2 survivors of the old order stepped from the shadows. Faerûn, a woodworker, and Shailarn, an apprentice wizard. Disguised in robes and masked, they revealed themselves as lords of Waterdeep. And they would not suffer tyrants. In Castle Waterdeep's great hall, before guilds and nobles alike, they struck down Gildeg and Zoar with fire and lightning. Faerûn removed his mask, declaring that Waterdeep would be safe only if the people supported a new order. The nobles bent the knee, and thus began the tradition of the masked lords of Waterdeep, anonymous rulers chosen for merit, who served the city rather than their own ambition. To this day, that legacy endures. Waterdeep is a city of many faces, and its rulers are no exception. Ask who governs this sprawling metropolis, and you might get answers as varied as the city itself. Some claim it's the merchants or guild masters who truly steer its course. Others point to the noble families, and yet the real power lies elsewhere, behind masks, cloaks, and the veil of secrecy. For those unfamiliar with Waterdeep, it may be surprising to learn that the city is ruled not by a single figure, but by a council known as the Lords of Waterdeep. These lords are ordinary citizens, guildsmen, merchants, priests, wizards, or even common laborers who walk the street among you. They could be the person selling goods in the trades war, a priest in the Temple of Lathander, or even the innkeeper at the Yawning Portal. And yet, collectively, they shape the policies, maintain order, and safeguard the city's future. The lords are concealed from the public by magical protections and ritual attire, known as the Lord's Ensemble. Each lord wears 3 essential items. The Lord's Helm, a helm that covers the face and projects a genderless voice and protects against magical intrusions. The Lord's Amulet, bearing Waterdeep's crest, which hides the wearer from magical detection. And the Lord's Robe, which standardizes the appearance of all lords, making each seem like a 6-foot androgynous figure indistinguishable from the next. No one knows the true identities of the current lords, and speculation is dangerous. False claims can carry the penalty of death. Throughout history, even secret organizations like the Knights of the Shield have uncovered only fragments of the truth and paid dearly for it. Among the lords, one is publicly known, the Open Lord of Waterdeep. Unlike the masked counselors, the Open Lord's identity is revealed, serving as both spokesperson and symbolic leader of the city. This office has had a storied lineage, beginning with the great mage Agarion, whose rule lasted over 2 centuries. The successive Open Lords, including Beiron Silmaril, Leistin, the Masked Lady, Pergaron Paladinson, Dagult Neverember, and now Laryl Silverhead, have each left their mark, shaping Waterdeep into the City of Splendors that it is today. Though their faces are hidden, the Lord's power is ever present. For the law-abiding citizen, this secrecy provides security and fairness. For those who break the law or seek to manipulate the city, the masked rulers are a constant watchful threat. As Leiston once said, though their faces are hidden, their hearts are ever true to the city's welfare. By cloaking the rulers in secrecy, the city helps rule itself, for its rulers walk among you, ever hidden and watchful. Understanding the lords is essential to understanding Waterdeep itself. Their presence is invisible yet absolute, shaping the city's fortunes and guiding the free city of Waterdeep through centuries of prosperity, peril, and intrigue. Waterdeep didn't earn its title as the Crown of the North just because it has a deep-water harbor or a strong army. What truly makes the city thrive is its legal system. After the city was retaken from the guild masters in the Year of the Wagon, the first magisters were appointed to enforce the law and ensure fairness for all citizens. At the heart of Waterdeep's system lies the Code Legal, a centuries-old framework of rules, customs, and punishments. While it forms the basis of justice, not all laws are written. Many rely on the judgment of the city's authorities, who apply the rules to maintain order and protect the people. The Code Legal is organized into 4 plaints, each designed to protect a different group. 1. Crimes against the lords, officials, and nobles. This includes murder, bribery, blackmail, impersonation, or magical interference with those in power. 2. Crimes against the city. Acts such as arson, theft, spying, fencing stolen goods, littering, obstruction of justice, and unauthorized use of weapons are included here. 3. Crimes against the gods. Offenses against temples, clergy, or sacred sites, including theft, tomb robbing, and blasphemy, are enforced by the Watch to maintain both religious and civic order. And 4. Crimes against the citizens, assault, robbery, burglary, property damage, disturbing the peace, slavery, or using magic without consent fall under this category. When someone commits a crime, the City Watch or guards will respond. Escape is difficult. The Watch knows the city streets and secret paths. Those apprehended are brought before a magister, either in the common courts or the Lord's Court, depending on the crime's severity. Magisters are chosen for their integrity and are trained to apply the law impartially. Criminals have the right to speak for themselves, while appeals can be made to the Lord's Court, presided over by the Open Lord and 2 of the Masked Lords. Clerics are often present to ensure the truth is upheld. Punishments are proportional to the crime. Minor offenses may result in fines. Failure to pay can lead to seizure of assets or temporary servitude. Serious offenses can lead to flogging, imprisonment in the dungeons of Castle Waterdeep, hard labor, exile, or even execution. Commoners are typically hanged, while nobles are beheaded. Waterdavians respect the law because it protects the city, promotes fairness, and ensures that adventurers, merchants, and ordinary citizens can coexist safely. It is a system built to endure, balancing justice with mercy and maintaining order in a bustling metropolis. If the Lords of Waterdeep provide the city's guiding hand, then it's the guilds and factions that make its heart beat. Every trade, craft, and profession in Waterdeep is represented by a guild, from the humblest dung sweepers to the most powerful magists. Each group has rules, dues, and influence. To work outside a guild is to invite fines, harassment, or worse. In a sense, guilds are as important to the life of Waterdeep as the law itself. The guilds cover every imaginable walk of life. There's the Bakers Guild, the Guild of Butchers, the Fellowship of Carters and Coachmen, the Vintners, Distillers, and Brewers Guild, and even the Cellarers and Plumbers Guild. Each jealously guards its trade, ensuring that only dues-paying members may operate within the city. Foreigners and adventurers alike quickly learn that while the lords make the laws, it's the guilds that enforce the realities of business. Some guilds, though, wield more than just economic clout. The Watchful Order of Magists and Protectors act as Waterdeep's unofficial arcane police. Its wizards provide magical services to the Watch, register spellcasters operating in the city, and keep an eye out for magical threats. On the other side of the spectrum, the Sailors Guild and the Guild of Watermen essentially control all shipping and traveling on the harbor, making them as critical as the Navy itself. Beyond the guilds, the city is shaped by factions as well, organizations with goals that stretch far beyond commerce. The Harpers work quietly to keep Waterdeep free of tyranny. The Zentrum, ever scheming, see the city as a ripe jewel to be plucked. The Order of the Gauntlet, Emerald Enclave, and Lord's Alliance all maintain a presence here, using Waterdeep as a staging ground for the wider agendas. Even the Kraken Society and other criminal networks maintain spies and smugglers hidden in the labyrinthine dock ward. And then there's the city's own defenders, the City Guard, who man the walls and the City Watch, who police its streets. More unique still are the Grey Hands, an elite band of adventurers employed by the Open Lord herself. These groups, along with the guilds, make Waterdeep feel less like a single city and more like a dozen competing powers, all jostling for control beneath the gaze of the lords. In Waterdeep, the rise in power or influence means more than earning gold or fame. It means navigating the endless webs of guild charters, faction loyalties, and the masked rulers who let that system endure. Waterdeep's nobility is a unique institution, shaped by history, wealth, and the service of the city. The first official noble families were established in 1248 DR, when Open Lord Agaron elevated nearly 100 merchant families into the noble class. Today, there are 78 recognized noble families, each playing a vital role in the governance, economy, and culture of the City of Splendors. Nobles enjoy privileges that set them above ordinary citizens, of course, but they remain subordinate to the masked lords of Waterdeep. They are protected under the Code Legal, allowed to maintain armed guard, and may command up to 70 men-at-arms under their personal banners. Every soldier and servant of the noble household wears the family's coat of arms, symbolizing loyalty and unity. While most nobles inherit their status from family lineage, some gain nobility through petition. A successful petition will require significant wealth, usually at least 25,000 dragons, ideally earned through contributions to the city, ownership of multiple properties in Waterdeep, a prominent role in one or more guilds, and sponsorship from at least 5 existing noble families. These requirements ensure that new nobles contribute to the stability, commerce, and culture of the city. Historically, some families have also been rumored to carry non-human blood, dragon, elf, or even Yuan-ti, though the nobility generally prioritizes human lineage to maintain its traditions. Noble families are often large, maintaining dozens of members in the city at all times. Estates may also exist outside of Waterdeep, but family presence within the city is crucial. Each household is supported by a staff of 50 or more, from stewards to servants, ensuring the smooth operation of their daily affairs. Every member of a noble family is expected to have their own mount and participate in the life of the city. Inheritance usually passes from the eldest child, regardless of gender. Smaller portions of the estate are distributed among younger siblings or distant relatives. In rare cases, the head of a family may designate a different heir, but these proclamations must be legitimized in the Lord's court to avoid disputes. Occasionally, 2 families may be merged through marriage if a noble house has no heirs, preserving both property and name. Despite popular opinion, nobles are far more than lavish spenders. They are patrons of trade, the arts, and public works, helping shape the city's commerce and culture. Many of Waterdeep's festivals, contests, and artistic achievements are possible only because of noble sponsorship. Their wealth and influence support the city's continued growth and ensure that Waterdeep remains a thriving metropolis for all who live there. Hidden deep below Mount Waterdeep, in the twisting caverns of Undermountain, lies a place few surface dwellers ever see. Skullport, sometimes called the Port of Shadows. Skullport is a lawless harbor and trade hub in the Underdark. It sprawls across 3 tiers of caverns, covering nearly 700 acres, and it's infamous for its black market, slave trade, and uneasy alliances between some of Faerûn's shadiest powers. But Skullport didn't simply appear. It's the result of centuries of dwarves, netherese, arcanists, and one particularly mad wizard reshaping the mountain. The story begins long before Waterdeep even existed. Nearly 13 centuries before Dale Reckoning, dwarves discovered mithril veins beneath what would one day be Mount Waterdeep. They built their kingdom of Melarbode, carving vast halls, mines, and fortresses. While they held their ground for centuries, they constantly battled threats from the Underdark, including the drow. The dwarves never breached the caverns of the Sargoth River, the place that would become Skullport, but they laid the groundwork for everything that followed. Around 800 years before Dale Reckoning, Netherese arcanists established a Sargoth enclave within those very caverns, seeking to expand their knowledge of elven mantle magic. They created a mythalar and built a hidden stronghold far from elven interference. But when Karsus' folly shattered Nethril, their mythalar failed catastrophically. The enclave collapsed, killing the arcanists within, only for 13 of them to rise again as undead, bound forever to the enclave. These would later be known as the Skulls of Skullport. Centuries passed, and in the year of the Scattered Stars, a powerful mage named Hilathar, better remembered as Halaster Blackcloak, established his dominion over the mountain. He unleashed fiends against the drow, claimed Undermountain for himself, and began shaping it into his personal domain. For reasons unknown, Halaster never directly tampered with the cursed ruins of Sargoth, leaving the 13 Skulls undisturbed. It wasn't until the Year of the Angry Sea that a Netherese survivor named Shardan Molopar discovered the enclave. Hallister, recognizing his power, granted Chardon rule over the caverns under his hand, and with the ever-watchful Skulls keeping order, the settlement of Skullport was born. Within decades, Skullport transformed from a few caverns into the greatest black market in the Underdark. Drow, Duergar, illithids, and other deep-dwelling races came to trade. For the first time, Underdark commerce could take place without constant bloodshed. That stability, maintained by the terrifying authority of the Skulls, made Skullport thrive. Of course, stability doesn't mean safety. Skullport became infamous for slavers, assassins, and the worst of Faerûn's underworld. By the 14th century, it was a battleground for rival factions. The Lords of Waterdeep, the Harpers, the Church of Elistray, they all clashed with the Kraken Society, Zentrum, and Cyric's faithful. When the spell plague struck, the city collapsed into chaos, echoing the fall of Netheril centuries later. And yet, Skullport refuses to die. In recent years, whispers speak of new life stirring in its halls, Netheri's relics unearthed, mithril veins rediscovered, and adventurers daring to return. The Skulls remain in place, silent guardians or tyrants, over whatever future the Port of the Shadows will have. No guide to Waterdeep would be complete without a stop at the Yawning Portal, perhaps the most famous tavern in all of Faerûn. At first glance, the inn looks like any other watering hole. Busy, noisy, filled with adventurers swapping tall tales over mugs of ale. But the Yawning Portal is unique, because at its center is a massive open shaft that descends deep into the earth. That shaft is the only safe known entrance into Undermountain, the sprawling dungeon built and ruled by the mad mage Hallister Blackcloak. For centuries, would-be heroes, mercenaries, and treasure seekers have paid for the chance to be lowered down into the darkness, hoping to return with riches, or glory, or both. Of course, many never come back at all. The well itself is nearly 40 feet across and drops hundreds of feet to the first level of the dungeon. Ropes and pulleys manned by the inn staff haul adventurers down and occasionally pulls up survivors gasping for air. The inn is run by Durnan, a retired adventurer who himself braved Undermountain in his youth. Unlike most, he made it out alive, and with enough treasure to buy the tavern that now stands above the dungeon. Durnan is known for his dry wit, his gruff patience with rowdy customers, and his refusal to share much about what he saw in the depths. He serves as a gatekeeper of sorts, impartial, pragmatic, and willing to take your gold, but never foolish enough to join you in the Undermountain again. The Yawning Portal has become more than just a tavern. It is a crossroads. Adventuring parties meet here before delving into Undermountain. Factions keep spies here to recruit or monitor newcomers, and storytellers fill the air with legends about what lurks below. Brawls break out often. Monsters occasionally climb out of the shaft, and adventurers vanish into the dungeon beneath, all part of the inn's, nightly routine. For dungeon masters, the Yawning Portal is more than a location. It's a launchpad. Countless official adventures, including Waterdeep, Dungeon of the Mad Mage, and Tales from the Yawning Portal, begin right here. It's the beating heart of Waterdeep's adventuring culture, a place where stories begin, legends end, and the line between safety and danger is as thin as the lip of that gaping well. And that brings us to the end of our journey through Waterdeep, the City of Splendors. From its wild beginnings on the Sword Coast to its rise as a hub of trade, law, and culture, Waterdeep has always been a city of opportunity, danger, and adventure. Its streets are alive with merchants, nobles, adventurers, and citizens, all bound by the laws, traditions, and history that make this city unique. You could be walking the busy markets of the Trades Ward, exploring the heights of Mount Waterdeep, or navigating the shadowy undercity of Skullport. There is always something new to discover. And for adventurers, merchants, and travelers alike, understanding the city's laws, noble families, and history isn't just fascinating, it's essential for survival. So, if you've enjoyed this exploration of Waterdeep, I'd love to hear what you found most interesting. Drop a comment below and share your favorite ward, landmark, or story from the city from your own games. And if you're new here to the Dungeon Puffin, consider subscribing and keep up with more in-depth D&D lore guides, adventures, and tips. So until our next journey into the realms, stay curious, stay prepared, and may your adventures in Waterdeep always be exciting and hopefully safe, but not too safe. This is James from the Dungeon Puffin. Later, guys.